Hello, my name is Michael Ramos, and I have been in the real estate world for, well, my entire life. My family and I have done it all and seen more from real estate sales, construction, and property inspections. And in all this time, what fascinates me the most about this industry are the people and how they changed their dreams into realty success.
This program is brought to you by City Home Inspectors, your one-stop shop for all your home inspection needs.
All right, hello everybody, and thank you for tuning into this week's episode of From Dreams to Realty Success, where we share inspiring stories of the top producers in the real estate industry. Today we have Jose-Luis Martinez. Joey has been a realtor for 8 years and is licensed here in Illinois, in Indiana, and coming soon in Florida. Joey is with eXp Realty, and he is known for his experience in both buyers, sellers, and investors. Thank you so much, Joey, for coming in today. We really do appreciate your time. I know it's every time we take you guys out of the field, it's costing you and me money. So thank you for coming.
Absolutely. It's an honor to be featured on your show. Super excited.
Thank you so much. So I do have a letter from Baxi. So for those of you that don't know, Baxi is my mother, and she's also the owner of City Home Inspectors. And she really does take the time to study the market and everybody in it. And this is what she had to say about Joey over here. So Jose-Luis Martinez is a top producer. He is on his game, licensed in almost 3 states, means he's ambitious in succeeding in all 3 states. Hold on, I got to do that again. Sorry. So I have a letter from Baxi, and for those of you that don't know, Baxi is my mother, and she is also the owner of City Home Inspectors, and she studies the market thoroughly and everybody in it. And this is what she had to say about Joey. Joey is a top producer. He is on his game. Licensed in almost 3 states means he's ambitious and succeeding in all 3 of them. He's driven and is truly professional. I'm sure he can pull it off in all 3. But yeah, that's what she had to say about you. So again, thank you so much for coming.
Awesome. So kind words and I admire your mom so much, being, sometimes, especially in the inspection industry, I feel like it's a male dominated industry. So that's why I love working with your mom and with your entire team, like, female led business, Latino, and, all the boxes that I love to check off.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, it was crazy how it all started off too. We just, we jumped right into it. It was after a bad experience from flipping. We had an inspector come in, and he was just totally rude to us as the owners. Mm-hmm. And from there, we're like, you know what, we can do it better. And we kind of just jumped right into it. So it worked out very well. I mean, we're doing well. I mean, and I feel like that's why I get you guys to come in on my podcast, because us from City Home Inspectors. Right. So it's it gets a little bit of foot in the door.
No, I constantly recommend you guys, from the service, punctuality, from the timeliness, from the reports, how and the detailed reports. It's so easy to then have that conversation with my buyers, with the attorney, and just, and even my attorney, she always speaks volumes about you guys as well when she gets the reports.
Awesome. Great. That's great. Well, thank you so much for the kind words, but this is actually about you, not about me. So, so we're going to switch gears now. But real quick, I just wanted to know, what were you doing before you got into real estate?
So I was actually working in telecommunications sales. I was a business development manager for a partner group of elite partners that just did a lot of business with us. So kind of like the liaison between anything they needed in terms of like sales, processes, statuses, pricing, anything that, they could possibly need. They were a large group of customers that spent a lot of money with us. I was kind of in charge of them. So always just keeping them happy, making sure that they, their needs were always met. So yeah. And then, they did a reorganization in the company, and an opportunity came to, it was either like go this way or take a leave of absence. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to, jump in all the way into real estate. And it happened right around July, almost 2 years ago. And then I was like, I'm going to see where this real estate thing is going to go. And, because I'd always been doing it very part-time, very casual. And a very expensive hobby is what I would call it, because I would barely make enough to break even to like pay my fees and dues. And then I jumped full force, and it's been phenomenal. probably one of the greatest experiences that I've ever spent. You know, feeling that sense of fulfillment when you're helping people buy a home and, you know, helping them build generational wealth. People that, you know, at the closing table, they're like, I never thought that I would be able to do this. And they're like, thank you for guiding me. Thank you for you know, for, you know, pushing me in the direction to make sure that we get to the closing table. So it's been an interesting ride. You know, there's ups and downs, but the ups definitely outweigh the downs.
And yeah, I think with any job, there's going to be ups and downs. So for sure, and it can be very fulfilling, you know, especially doing it for yourself. So you've been full time for only 2 years
Hmm.
then, but you've been licensed for
Yeah,
eight.
so 8 years license. Randomly, I was bored one day, and you know I was working in a different capacity, and had a lot of free time, and I was like, oh, I was like, I read like an advertisement for a real estate school offering, and I was like, this sounds kind of cool. One day I'm going to buy a house. Like, why don't I go learn about it? Learned about it and took the test, passed, you know. And then the thing was, I was in Indiana. So that's how the whole story, how I even got my license in Indiana. I took the classes in Indiana. I wasn't aware that you needed a license for each state. So when I passed the test, they're
Mm,
like, congratulations, you're licensed in Indiana. And I'm like, well, wait, what about Illinois? And they're like, that's a whole nother test. So then yeah, I had to go
wow.
and take the test again. So I was like, you know what? While it's top of mind, like, let me go and get my Illinois license right away. So, and then I became licensed in
Mhm.
both, and you know, here and there I would help people. Mostly it was friends and close friends and family that were I was pretty much helping.
Right. So, so that's really funny. So are you a Chicago native? Were
Yeah,
you
so
born
I
and
was born
raised
and
here?
raised on the
Okay.
far southeast side of Chicago, like almost close to the
Uh huh.
Indiana border. So I kind of lived like half my life in Indiana and like half my life in Chicago. I went to high school, a little bit of college, and you know I worked in Indiana, so I was constantly you know going back and forth. So it actually worked out because some of my family members actually ended up relocating to Indiana. So I was able to take advantage of my license and help them out in Indiana. And then little by little, friends, you know, just started to, you know, I'm sure you guys have noticed the migration from Illinois because of, you know, our high real estate taxes. You know, especially like in the south and the southern suburbs of Chicago, some of the real estate taxes are just, you know, astronomical. And if you just cross the Indiana border, it's like literally 1.5% of the sale price is what your real estate taxes can be. So it's been really helpful to have both licenses.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, the migration thing is a big thing. I noticed that a lot. And I started seeing a lot of other agents also getting licensed in Florida as well as other states too, because people are just leaving. And which makes sense. You know what I
No,
mean? You got to go where
and
you're going to
that's
save
what I
money.
want to kind of, you know, line myself up for this, you know, the boomers that are going to be relocating, the snowbirds is what we call them, I guess, that'll be eventually relocating to Florida, you know, warmer climates, and be able to sell their houses here in Illinois or Indiana and then helping them relocate in Florida. And also, like, how cool is it to be able to be like, oh, I got to fly to Florida really quick to go help a client.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah.
you guys
Definitely.
are in Florida too, right?
Yes, correct. We're also in Sarasota, Florida. We have an operation out there, but we're mainly here in Chicago. This is our home
Hmm.
base. So most of our business is here in Chicago. We're still working on Florida. Um, so it's really that's really interesting though. Like I because I thought about it too, because that's the thing with home inspections is our license is universal. So I can move to Florida or another state. I just have to take their city
Hmm.
test, and then I could just activate my license there. So it's really interesting how that transitions, and how that works out. So you're with EXP
Hmm.
Realty, correct? And what was your main deciding factor? Why hang your license there? What are the
You
benefits
know,
there?
when it first the message was delivered to me, you know, and they presented me the EXP business, I was kind of like, and it was with a completely different partner that I ended up signing up with. And when I first said it was very cloud based, so everything's done in the cloud. There's actually no, if you see an EXP office branch, it's not actually owned by EXP. It's owned by the individual agent. So everything is done like our back office, like our accounting, our licensing, our commission team is everything is in the metaverse is what I guess you would call it, kind of like Facebook, and what they're kind of moving to. It's actually through Verbella, so it's like this online campus. So everybody pretty much works remotely. And at first I was kind of like, how do you not have an office? Like, don't, you know, and I was like, you got to take people to meet office and then like, you know, to meet and, you know, go over stuff. And then COVID happened. And I was like, wait, like nobody's going to the office anymore. So it was kind of like a no-brainer, everything moved to Zoom, everything moved to like, let's just meet at the property, let's just meet at a coffee shop and then go from there. So they presented the opportunity to me. The commission splits were actually what kind of drove me first, because they do offer a very competitive commission split, but also the opportunity to have equity in the company. So as an EXP employee, my every first transaction that I do, I get rewarded in shares in the company. And anytime I attract somebody to the business as well, and I bring them on to EXP business, I also get shares in the company as well. And it's a publicly traded company, which is really nice. They actually have a retirement plan for us as well. So we can put in, percentages of our commissions into that, and then they purchase stocks for us at a discount. And they also offer healthcare, which was really important.
Oh wow, yeah, that's yeah, getting benefits
Right.
and a 1099 with benefits. That's
Well,
amazing.
that
Yeah.
too, and it's like, they pretty much solved all the issues I think that a lot of people are seeing in real estate. A lot of realtors, a lot of real estate companies don't really set up, a 401k or retirement plan or another opportunity for you to make money outside of selling real estate. So it's kind of nice. Currently I have about 3 people that have joined EXP under me, and hopefully have like one more joining me. And then we also get revenue share. So whatever business they get, I then get a percentage of that as well. So it kind of like encourages me to help them and get them off the ground. And then, it's kind of a little bit of like a domino effect, because then they start attracting people to the business, and then they become a part of your team. So it's a great way to, it's almost like another stream of income, which is really nice.
Awesome. So, I know you mentioned that you brought 3 people in. Are you like a team? You guys all
So
work
that's the
together,
thing.
or is it
So
more?
it's pretty much, it's what you want. You can create a team within the EXP brand, or you can just be like, hey, come to EXP, and then if you already know what you're doing, you kind of just go on your own flow. But if it's the 2 people are brand new people, so I've been kind of like nurturing them and mentoring them and teaching them like the ways of the business and like how to use our systems, how to deal with clients, how to process stuff, how to win bids, how to negotiate. So it just depends on their level of expertise of, if they need handholding, or if they, need to actually to be on the team and, get help them feed them with leads and stuff like that. So it's pretty much like you build your own, you can white box your own business, white box your own business. You can pretty much make it wherever you want. If you want to build a team, you can definitely do that. Or if you just want to attract people and be like, okay, the cool thing that I like about it too is that I'm not responsible for them. Like we have a managing broker that is responsible for their license. I can kind of guide them, but at the end of the day, our managing broker handles all of that. And plus, we have like tons of support within the organization. So if they ever have a question and I'm not available, they can log into one of our systems 24 hours, 24/7, and get somebody on the phone to help them with what they need.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah, the EXP sounds like it's a good place to hang your
Mm-hmm.
license at for sure. So before we started recording, we talked on the phone a little bit, and we talked a little bit about
Mm-hmm.
investment properties. Do you have investment properties? Are you an investor yourself, or you just
No,
manage
so
with
I,
clients
and
investment?
it's funny because everyone's like, "Why aren't you?" And I was just like, first of all, it's a little bit, and I don't want to shy people away, but it's time consuming. And right now, I'm so like into real estate with helping clients. Like it would be a disservice if I were to become a landlord, because if something breaks, I don't really know how to fix stuff. I just wouldn't have the time or the bandwidth to help. And I'm helping currently right now, helping clients with I'm helping one client that bought a building. I'm helping him with the renovations, managing the because he actually lives in California. So I've been managing the project, checking in, screening tenants, making sure we're actually dealing with, I'm sure you're familiar with the eviction process in Illinois. We actually have a squatter right now. So I've been dealing with like squatters. So I'm like learning so much. And I feel like these experiences are now going to set me up for success when I do become an investor. So kind of like learn as you go.
Well, that's very interesting. I don't think I've had anybody mention squatters yet. So, do you want to kind of explain that a little bit? Like, what happens when you have a squatter in your
Dude,
investment property?
it's crazy. So the city of Chicago is actually a more tenant friendly city than it is to the landlords, which would, I think, especially with COVID, has kind of like turned a bad taste in a lot of investors. A lot of my investors did sell off their buildings as well, because they're like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. because of, I mean, you could almost live in a building for almost like a year without paying rent, which is the crazy thing. And I don't like to share that information because I don't want people to know that. But, the way the courts are backed up and the way that the laws are written, it's tenant favorable. So this particular unit was actually being rented by somebody else. His name was on the lease. He moved out, but in the interim, one of his family members, who he says he doesn't know, but it's actually like we found out it was his cousin, she moved into the place too, but she decided that she was going to stay there. So it's his move out day. I'm like, hey, where's the keys? He's like, oh, they're on the kitchen counter. So I go there, the doors are locked, and I'm like, what's going on? He's like, I don't know. So then one of the workers actually kind of was like being slick one day and like just sneaked in there, and there's a whole other person living there. So we basically had to serve them, an attorney had to serve them with papers. So next week's coming up, they're actually going to go there with the police and like do like a forceful eviction, because they're not actually tenants, they're actually squatters. So there's like a whole different process. So we had to serve them notice, give
Wow.
them enough
Yeah.
time. I think it's like 10 days. So we served them last Saturday. So this Saturday coming up, they're going to go there with the police and the owner and forcefully evict them.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I was actually. It's funny that you mentioned, like, just yesterday. I was watching a video on Facebook that this person had an Airbnb, and they were Airbnb-ing their property, and then someone that came in for the Airbnb ended up staying at the property for over three
Oh,
months without
wow.
paying. They just moved right. Well, they paid for like I think
Hmm.
2 weeks, and then they never left. So they had to go through a whole thing, the whole eviction process and everything like that for the Airbnb. So I mean, yeah, investing is
Right.
is risky, but it's just make sure you're make sure you're
Yeah,
really
and there
vetting
was,
out your
and immediately
people.
like my investor was like, just change the locks and do this. And I was just like, actually, we can't.
You
Like,
can't.
the police will come back and force us to like change the locks again to the old ones. Like, you would think like, wait, like I'm the owner, I can do whatever I want. Like these people don't even have, aren't even tenants. Like what the hell? But it's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. The squatters' rights
Hmm.
or something else. So, so to move on to the next question, um, let's say, what are some of the things that you love the most about being a realtor?
Um, let's see, where do I begin? So, the thing that I love most is the autonomy, the ability to kind of create my own
Hmm.
schedule, and the flexibility to like do things that I want to do. If I want to like, go to a family event and I know that I can, kind of like schedule stuff so that I can be a part of it. Or if something fun is happening during the week and I'm like, you know what, I want to go to this. So I can, make sure that I work around that. The second part, I love helping people. Like I love being a part of someone's success, because I feel like being a real estate owner is a huge success. So being able to help people like that. And also the one thing that I really enjoy, and it's one of like my most special things, is when I'm able to help Spanish speaking clients, Latino clients, that don't speak English. So, and I'm pretty much their advocate with like helping them find a home, negotiating stuff, translating documents, helping them all the way up into the closing process. And, it kind of reminds me of like my grandparents and, their struggle of when they came here and, became owners. And I'm kind of like, it's kind of like me kind of like giving back to the community for that has served me so well.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I bet like you were saying earlier, you wanted to give to the Latino
Hmm.
Latina business and everything like that. So yeah, that's great. That's my main thing too. Is why I love being. I mean, I've been in the real. I always say like in the beginning of the video, I say my name is Michael Ramos, and I've been in the real estate industry for my
Right.
entire life. I grew up in it. And my thing that I love the most is that every day is different. There's never every client is completely different. Every day is different. Every house is different. So it never gets stale. It's never like the same thing over and over. It constantly is evolving, and it's constantly changing your mindset. So it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah. So from the next one, I want to say let's go back in time. Let's go 8 years back in time, right? And we're in front of a freshly licensed in Indiana Joey.
Yikes.
um, yeah. So what are some of the what are some of the tips you would, or some advice you would give to a freshly licensed
Definitely
Joey?
don't take things personal, and separating the business from emotion. And this was one of the hardest things that I had to learn, because I would get so invested and so like, they have to get this house and they have to, and things go wrong, there an inspection comes up and, some items that, are, non-negotiables and, stuff that they want fixed, and the parties can't come to a meeting of the minds to make it work. And the deal gets canceled. So taking emotion out of it is probably one of the biggest things that I would tell myself, is like, it's strictly business. Like, don't get your feelings hurt. If a client, I've had it done a couple of times where you're working with a client and then all of a sudden they like totally go, radio silent on you and start ghosting you. And then you're friends with them on social media, or you see another realtor friend post a picture with them and you're like, wait, like I worked with you for like 5 months and you dumped me and you went to go, it's kind of like dating, you're like dating someone for like 5 months
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden they're dating somebody else. It's like, holy shit. So just taking the whole
Right.
emotions out of it and just being like, this is strictly business. So that's something I would tell myself
Mm-hmm.
like 8 years ago.
That's awesome. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because I could see that too. Like if things get too personal, and then if your heart's all into it, then if things fall through, it's gonna affect you, like mentally and emotionally. So yeah, so keep it. I mean, keep your clients close, but
Right.
an arm's length.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. So, besides real estate, is there anything else you're
I'm
passionate
passionate
about?
about food. I'm a huge foodie, so I love to try new restaurants. I love to cook. Me and my best
Sure.
friend, we constantly go out to dinner, and then we'll be like, all right, how are we going to make this at home? So we'll like try to recreate the meals that we ate, so that we can, add that to our little repertoire of cooking.
Oh, awesome. Any restaurants in Chicago you'd like to
Actually, I just
recommend?
went to this Italian place in Wicker Park. It's called Tortello, and they actually make the pasta in
Okay.
house. And I had this seafood squid ink pasta, and it was like to die for, like phenomenal. I was literally
Squid
like
ink.
spooning like the last little bottoms of the bowl. It was like that delicious. Hmm.
Squid ink. I don't. I
Yeah,
gotta. I haven't had that before. I'm that type where I'm like I gotta
yeah,
try everything at least once. You know what I mean? I won't like. I know some people like, oh, I'm not gonna
right,
eat that squid ink. No, no, no. I
for
need to try
sue.
it at least once,
So,
just
and
just
honestly,
so
like
I
when
could
you
know.
hear the name, you're like squid ink. Like, well, I'm not gonna eat that shit. Like, but it's just the coloring of the pasta, which makes it the pasta black. Because traditionally, obviously, pasta is
Uh-huh.
like a cream colored or whatever. Sometimes it's green if they make it with spinach, but they actually use like a little bit of squid ink to make the pasta black.
Mhm.
But it doesn't taste like, it doesn't have like it doesn't taste like squid or like seafood or anything. So it was delicious,
Awesome.
absolutely delicious. And then we had this fennel, celery, and citrus salad that was just like phenomenal. It had like a pesto dressing, and they actually make their own focaccia bread, and it was phenomenal. Like if I could go back there today, and I would just eat the exact same thing again. It was so good.
Oh wow, yeah. That's huge. Okay,
Right,
I gotta write that down. I
tortella.
gotta go
Yeah.
there for sure. Tortella. Okay, for
Hmm.
sure. I'll put that down. All right, awesome. That is pretty much all the questions I have for you today. Thank you so much for your time again, Joey. It really does mean a lot. For I know we had an issue the last time we tried to record, so it looks like we got it done this time. So again, thank you for both your days for trying to get this done with me. So if you'd like, if you want to tell the audience, let them know what's the best way of
I would say
contacting you.
via Instagram. I'm pretty easy to get there. So it's my handle is at Joey Sells Chicago. Or you can go to my website. My website is actually through my legal name, which we have to use professionally for our licenses. So it's Jose-Luis.Martinez.com. So check me out there. You can see all my listings. You can see what I've done in the past. And, hopefully you'll like what you see.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you. Thanks again, Joey, for coming in. Thank you everybody for tuning into this week's episode of Dreams to Realty Success. Again, we'll see you
Thanks for
next
having
week.
me.
Thank you so much. Don't leave yet.